Learn your rules. You have to learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep. And then we go near Sanders. Many questions. Ukraine as well. What did I do? What did I do to you to make you hate me so much? I said to nobody. I can see people in the chat room. Moody Black Sister, some lady apparently died a couple of days ago and it's been all over the news. Alice Georgeson's in there. Good evening, Alice. Apple Charlotte as well, and Matthew Carey. Anyway, I think we should start, shouldn't we? How do I do this now? There we go. Hey, good evening. Raconteurs. Sunday night, it's a Sunday service. Listen, I've really got. It's really been a difficult day. It's been crap, hasn't it? It's been crap. It's been a crap day. I've been watching a bit of football and that, but it's so crap. But I've got Dean with me anyway, so he's going to liven things up, I hope, when we finally get him on. I think Dean's joining us. Anyway, good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs on a Sunday evening. It's Sunday service. I have had a bit of a beer and stuff like that. Evening. Apple Charlotte says, evening to what do we owe this pleasure? Because you're our listeners and my listeners, or whatever. I'm just going to add him to the stream. There we go. Dean, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, mate.
You man? I'm all right. How are you?
Not bad. Could be better. Could be on a sunny beach somewhere.
Yeah, but you just get sand in your fucking brothel creepers, don't you? So
It does behind foreskin, doesn't it?
It's horrible. It's horrible. How are you doing? Any chance you can get a little bit closer to your mic, or
let me check. I'll see which one's on, because sometimes it changes microphone on its own.
Is that what it does?
How's that?
Alice Georgeson says Antifa rocked up at Trafalgar Square to help the police. Yeah, I can believe that again. Late again, Ron Malcolm says. I am late. I am late. The reason why I'm late is because I had just thought about this, and I thought I'll just stick that out there that I might do a show tonight. and then I didn't tell my wife, and my wife's going to work tomorrow for the first time for a while. So she's actually going to be. She's been working from home, so she's going to be out of the house. So I thought she'd go to bed earlier, so that's why I thought 9:30. But anyway, how are you doing, my old mate?
Sound, buddy. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you.
All right. Sound, mate. It's getting a bit dismal now, isn't it? Same old story. You know what it reminds me of? Genesis. Selling England by the pound. You heard that record?
Genesis.
Yeah.
Now I don't know it. Now I was never a big Genesis fan, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Flag Day, not Flag Day. Think for a minute the House Martins, where it says people that used to say hello just walk on by, and children that used to have a smile on their face, they've not got it anymore, and all that shit. And it is quite bad. And I'm hoping to try and get somebody on Tuesday who were down at Trafalgar Square. I don't suppose you were down at Trafalgar Square, were you, Dean?
No, it's getting down there, mate, from up here. I'm not that far from you, me, am I? You know what I mean? I'm only on the other side of Manchester from you. So it's getting down there. If you get any hassle on train or whatever getting down there, you want to be bastards, it can stop you halfway and turn you around, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand. But there were a lot of good people there. There were a few wankers there. I did notice that Lee Garrett had posted. I'm just going to have to do something on Lee Garrett. I'm just going to have to do something on Lee Garrett. I've got fucking tons of stuff on the con. But he was there and he was saying, like, best day ever. It were, I mean, who the fuck's he? What? Did he get a nosebleed? Sorry.
I seen it as well. I actually skipped that live bit. I went looking for another live stream while he was talking. Because there were a lot of different live streams where some were staying with police, showing what were going on with police, and some were staying like with speakers. We don't need the speakers. We know what's going on. I don't understand what the speakers are there for. Let's just have a bit of a silent protest. Sit down in front of coppers. Just sit down in front of them. What are they going to do? They'll look right twats hitting you with batons then, won't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. And listen, fucking, what's his face? Sorry, I don't mean any disrespect by that, but Neil Sanders were pointing out something today about having to apply for to be able to demonstrate in at Trafalgar Square. You had to apply and get it approved, and it cost like £1,000, and then you got 3 hours, and then they were £1,000 an hour after that. And then I just thought to myself, well, what about fucking free assembly? I just don't get where he's coming from. But he's going to be back on show. I'm going to listen to the last show, and I'm going to be looking at the chat room that we're in there, and I'm going to be writing down all I'm going to be writing down all the questions. And I've had a number of questions that have been put on comments and stuff like that. So they're going to be put to him. Yeah, Alice Georgeson says, I want to run away. And you can understand that, can't you? You just want to run away from all this shit. It's just utter fucking nonsense. Go on.
I'm just waiting for a reply off Elon Musk, me. I've applied for a seat on next Mars mission.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I wish. No, it's right. We've got to persevere with it. I mean, if you're out there and you're pushing negative energy that negative energy spreads to the next person outside of you. You know what I mean? It's like, them coppers, they're not coppers. They're not coppers, them. There's too much. They ain't coppers, they've been brought in. I think they're a part of what's going on with Australia as well. This UN police force that's being brought in especially for that situations, because the actions on them, they're different. They're different than a copper's action. So it's as if they've just been brought in purposely for this setup that's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Some of their actions actually looked a bit militarized to me.
Well, it were similar to Orgreave back in 80s when there was a Battle of Orgreave, which is not far from me. I used to go past it every fucking day, the Orgreave, the site of it. And you've got fucking sabres now. Fucking, yeah, Alice, that's going to work, isn't it? Fucking that silly cunt, fucking dark glasses and his fucking... Jesus Christ. You know, I don't think we need speakers. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we need speakers. I think we need people that are there that are willing to just mingle and talk to people,
yeah,
rather than rather than stand on a stage, do a speech, and rile everybody up, and that's what it does. It riles everybody up, and you don't want people riled up. You want them to be you want it to be peaceful. I know, and I know that this is going to end in blood. I know it is. I know that's the way that it's going to end. The only way we're going to get out of this is it's going to be blood, but it has to be the very, 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 very last fucking option that we've got.
Last resort.
The last resort, and when people talk about the violence and stuff like, we don't like violence. Well, that's what they're using on us. I mean, why the fuck should we not use it on them? You know what I mean? Chris O'Rourke has just put in chat room, took the words right out of my mouth about Orgreave, because there were coppers there. There were people, there were militia dressed in fucking police uniforms.
Yeah.
They have numbers on the shoulders, you know, so they couldn't be identified. And I think that's probably what's happening at these fucking places. And I do listen. I don't want people to stop going to places where where there's mass
gathering.
Where they're not fucking. They're not going to take what's going on. I agree that these protests should happen. And fucking, what I don't agree with, and I wanted to, I really wanted to call him out, Neil Sanders, on this, but there were so many fucking comments on it that I just thought it's just going to get lost in comments. I might as well speak to him personally and pop it to him when he comes back on show to answer all questions, and just say, you know, what happened to the right for people to assemble? You know, what happened to that? That's a right. It's like a few weeks ago, I think I've mentioned this on show, but a few weeks ago I had occasion to be arrested. Now I were arrested, and when I was interviewed, they said to me, it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court. And I said to them, I said, well, hang on a minute. You can't tell me that I've got the right and then add a caveat to it. Rights don't have caveats. If I've got a right to remain silent, that's that. That's my right. There's no caveats to it. that if you do, then somebody can fucking think that you're doing this and you're doing, you've done that or whatever. But it's we are in interesting times, and do you know what? Since I've found out that I've not got that fucking shit that I thought were going to kill me, I've had a new lease of life. It's completely fucking give me a new lease of life, because before all I was doing is I was trying to do stuff before I died, because I thought this shit were going to kill me. I thought, this stuff's going to fucking kill me. It's got no cure, yada yada yada, and suddenly I ain't got it. So they're probably going to be prodding and poking me and saying, well, how did you get rid of it? And so that we can give advice to people that have got it. And I'll say, well, I smoked a lot of weed, I drank a lot of fucking alcohol, and I fucking did stuff that perhaps people don't normally do. So and they're not going to like that. I mean, the hematologist that I spoke to, I said to her, I said, how can this be gone? It's I was told it will lifelong, and I've got papers about somewhere where I can show you that it says that I've got antiphospholipid syndrome and it's lifelong. And if you look it up, it says it's got no cure and that yada, yada, yada. So now I've not got it. It's given me this new lease. It's made me feel more free to be able to do stuff. It's actually made me feel fucking better. I used to feel shit about it, but it's actually made me feel better. I've stopped smoking, because I were only smoking because I thought, well, this shit's going to kill me anyway. So, why not smoke? So now I've stopped. I'm on a vape thing. Here it is. It's just a vape with just normal vape shit in it. Perhaps that'll give me something. I don't know. Look, it's just given me a new lease of life, and I feel like I can fucking take people on. Do you know what I mean?
It sometimes takes a screw like that, Jason, though, you know what I mean? But sort your head out, you know what I mean? Life comes in strange ways, doesn't
it? But life is strange, isn't it? I mean, it's fucking. Look, I've been on internet. I've looked everywhere. I've gone on all the antiphospholipid syndrome fucking websites that there are. I've written to them all and said, look, I'm a 50-year-old bloke. I was diagnosed in 2012 with antiphospholipid syndrome after a number of events with blood clots and heart attacks and stuff like that. And now I'm told it's gone, whereas they said there were no cure. And people are saying, well, it could be that it's going to cut. And I think, fuck off. If they say I haven't got it, I haven't fucking got it.
Yeah, it's hiding. Built a wigwam in the middle of the body and hiding.
Well, I tell you what, I've got some good news. You see this thing behind me, this lift?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday I was going downstairs in the lift, and it's got all sort of safety features on it, as you can imagine, so that you don't fucking fall on it, it don't come down on top of dog or all like that. It's got all these fucking safety features. Anyway, so I get into the lift yesterday. I'm going downstairs, and suddenly it stops, and it won't go again. And I'm about 3 feet off the ground. Door won't open, obviously, because that's safety feature. But I've got like a backup thing, like a little it's a
hand winder.
Yeah, exactly. And I can open the door with it, right? So I can open the door with it. So there I am. I've put my brakes on my pushchair. I fucking got out of the machine, and then we've got my pushchair out. And I've got back in it and into my pushchair, and that's fine. So I rung up company, and said, look, my lift's fucking, it's stopped. It won't go. No matter what I do, I try to go up and down, and it won't do anything. It's fucked. There's this one fucking light that comes on, this orange light that comes on, and it just won't move. So anyway, they said to me, right, okay, what we'll do is we'll tell one of the engineers, an engineer will ring you. So I think it was about 4 o'clock yesterday. This is Saturday afternoon. It was about 4 o'clock, and the guy rings me, and he's in Glasgow.
A bit far away.
Exactly. He lives in Glasgow. He's from Glasgow. He lives in Glasgow. He's the guy that's on that particular weekend. You know, he must be the guy that were on, you know, to cover out. And he says, right, I'll get my stuff together. I'm on my way. And I said, you coming from fucking Glasgow? And he said, yeah, I'll come down. I'm coming from Glasgow. I said, for fuck's sake, nobody closer. And he said, no, they'll all be in beer gardens and what have you. So there's no what really I can do. So he came, and absolutely fucking superb service. He was down for a bit. It was 4 o'clock when I spoke to him. It was about 8:30 when he got here, and he spent about half an hour here and fixed it, and then went back to Glasgow. Because I thought, well, he's going to get a stopover. I said to him, well, you're going to get a stopover, aren't you? And he said, no, I'm going to go back to Glasgow. And I said, well, I hope they're fucking paying you well. And he says, yeah, well, they do, yeah. So big up to them. The Stilts, they're called, the people that installed the lift that I've got behind me. It was just, you know, it's just, for me, since I've had this thing that's taken away from me, it's been taken away from me. I know I fucking lost a leg, and I've had a couple of heart attacks, and I've had a load of fucking shit over it. But what it's done, it's made me think, well, you know, I fucking, whilst, and this is true, when this were all going on, I just thought to myself, this is fucking, in fact, somebody once told me, an hematologist once told me, he says, this is what's going to kill you. It's up to you when it does. And, you know, and how you look after yourself and do everything. And I thought, well, fuck it, I'm fucking smoking. I've got this thing in my leg, which then they told me that after they put it in, they sent me a letter saying it's got that people die between 2 and 5 years after having it put in because yada, yada, yada. And we're not using it now, and you know, that's all lifted from me, and I feel fucking, you know, marvelous.
Newborn.
Newborn. I feel like, yeah, I do. I feel like I've been born again.
Mm.
I feel like I've been born again. I can't explain the feeling to you. I can't explain it. It's I don't know. I can't. It's just liberating. And now I've got so many fucking plans. I've got fucking shit I'm going to do on fucking Steele and Garrett that I'm gathering up, which I'm trying to link Mark Steele to Mike Steele, who was one of the Essex Boys murderers, who's in prison serving a life sentence. Now, the similarities are they were both fucking bouncers, probably into fucking drugs, and it were firearms offences. So I'm trying to fucking link them together, and I'm pretty sure I'm really close to linking them in a way. So just watch yourself, fucking Mark Steele. Because you've come up against fucking wrong bloke. Especially you, fucking Garrett and all. Garrett, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, how's your weekend been, Dean?
Same as usual, mate. Just chilling and watching what's been going on. Absorbing what's going on around the world and that. Let's do a crack at, like, learn a crack at. I think it was all at top, really. Argentina, what they did to riot policeman. Oh my God. Jesus, mate, honestly. You seen in India when what they do, they stone people to death?
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, there must have been 1,000 people stoning. And I mean, like that. About 4-inch bricks, lobbing them as hard as they could at riot police. One of them were out cold, rest of them were trying to drag this one down. They pinned them against, and they're just on. Boom. Just carried on, mate. Honestly, it looked, I'd say there were at least, at any one given time, about 200 rocks in there each time, each second.
Yeah. See, what's going to stop this is these people are going to have people that they know in that demonstration. They're going to have people that are family in that demonstration. And soon they'll take the fucking hats off and take the vests off, and they'll be with us.
I don't know,
but we don't. What we don't fucking need is we don't need. We don't need fucking. Oh God! What? I read a comment and then fucking whatever I was going to say went out of my mind. Apple Charlotte said, "Ask Dean if his owl has been back for a visit."
It's here every night.
Is it? Oh.
I've got
an owl on my arm.
I've got a massive, he's about 2 foot tall, tawny owl, sits up a tree here. Been eyeball to eyeball with it one night. I just turned lights out and got to the window, and it was like about 6 feet away from me, staring right into my eyes.
That's brilliant, that though, isn't it? When you're connecting with nature, something natural. Something that you normally would think that would fucking run a mile from you, and it stands and looks at you, or it sits and looks at you.
Yeah, this sense it. This sense that if you're not going to do any harm to them, they sense that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's your aura.
It take a bit of time, but I agree with that. I once had a fucking. I think I've told this before, but we used to have 2 cats. We've got 1 cat now and 1 dog, Watson. But we used to have 2 cats, and before we had Watson, we got a cat flap on back garden, on back door, and the cat came in and it got a fucking bird, and the bird was like rattling around, and it fucking dropped it. It dropped the bird, and I kicked the fucking cat out. So there's me and the bird. I'm holding on to cat flap because cat's trying to fucking get its way in to get at bird. And I'm holding cat flap. The fucking bird was stood right next to me. And it just starts fucking drinking out at cat's bowl. Honestly, it was only a little fucking thing. And it was in the middle of night and all. And it was sat right next to me, and I'm holding fucking cat flap, and I'm trying to find lock thing for cat flap, the little red things that you lock it. I'm trying to lock, and I'm sure if I'd have fucking locked it, it would have fucking still banged its way in. So I put something against it, and then I got this little bird, and I picked it up in my hand. And then I walked out the front door. This is when I got 2 legs. I walked out the front door, and across the road from me, someone's got a hedge outside their house. So I went, and I just popped it in edge. And it stood there, it looked at me, and then it flew off. You know what I mean? And then I went back in, and, cat, I'd stopped cat from fucking killing this bird. It would just... one of the most intense things that I'd ever experienced, that this bird, it weren't flying about, it weren't fucking going nuts, you know, and fucking, because it just sat next to me, it like as if it were taunting cat. So I've got this big guy on my side, you know. And yeah, really fucking, really good experience. Really something that I'll never forget. It's yeah, he were a cheeky bird. Yeah, Apple Charlotte. Uni Black Sister says, why do cats go after birds? Well, I think they go after all the moves, don't they? I think they just think they're playthings. I think the domesticated cats, I mean, wild cats probably eat birds and stuff like that. And domesticated cats sort of end up playing with them. I've seen when my cat's had a bird and they're chucking it up in air and they're playing with, you know, and if inevitably it fucking dies. But that was one situation where me and the bird connected and the bird went away happily, knowing that there were a big fat human that were going to protect it from this fucking big beast that were going on. So yeah.
It's like I've got an hill up here. It's like 1,400 feet up. I just go and sit on there sometimes for 3 or 4 hours, just looking down all over northwest. I can see Blackpool, right over to Wales, over to Yorkshire, and just sit there for a few hours watching over at town. It's just watching out close birds. They don't realise you're there, and they just come and they'll land on your foot and just stare at you.
Yeah. I also remember another thing with fucking birds. I also remember I broke down on side at M1 near Leicester. And it wasn't one of them smart motorways, so it had got an hard shoulder, right? Yeah. So I fucking rung up. I rung up and said the van had blown up. It basically was fucked. So I phoned up for recovery, and I think it was February, and so I got like an hat on, and this is again when I've got 2 legs. So when I'm driving, I'm doing my driving job. Evening all, he says Steve Wellings, evening to you, Steve. I was sat on side of motorway. I got opposite side of barrier, and I was sat on grass, and there were this fucking robin that were in a tree, and this robin just would there all the time. Where you know, it just didn't piss off. It didn't go. And you know how these people say that robins are. Is it a sign that someone's watching over you and stuff like that? And I'm a great believer in that. I really am. I'm a great believer in things that we don't understand. And that robin stayed with me until I got fucking picked up. I'd have took it with me if I could. It were lovely. It had a lovely red breast. We better wear a blue, white, bright one, but it had a lovely red breast.
I've had one sat eating my dinner one day. We were building this retaining wall in this garden. Just sat eating my sandwiches at dinner time. Next thing, Robin flew down, sat on my knee, sat watching me eating. I couldn't believe it. The guy that was with me, he was really a fanatic on birds. His face, you can see jealousy in his face.
I think animals are great. You know, they do. You know what I mean? They do. If they do know if you're not going to fucking, if you're not a cunt and you're not going to hurt them, they'll start. I mean, I try not to kill wasps. Even though I don't even know what fucking wasps are supposed to do, but you know, I don't even kill wasps. I'll let it out. You know, I'll do out. And I think animals actually understand that. They understand the vibe that they get off you, because we've got no fucking idea really. We've got no idea what I did. A dog will sit in a corner and fucking look up at something that's not even there,
Yeah.
and sit there for a while, and perhaps things we don't understand, things that we can't see that they can. Like, it's fucking great. I love having animals. I love all that sort of stuff.
Well, you've got scientists who are slowly waking up to the idea now that the universe is actually connected. Everything that's in it's connected. It's an electric universe. So the most abundant thing in the universe is electric. We conduct electric. That's what our thoughts are. They're electric.
Yeah.
It's your most abundant is your electric and your water. And I think we're about 85% or 90% water and 5% carbon, something like that. Don't know it down to a T, but I know it's something short like that. But it's surprising. You get out on hills, get a walk about for a day, feel miles better when you get back. Or even just sitting outside of a lake, watching nature.
Yeah.
It just zones you out away from all this shit for a bit.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. We need that, don't we? I mean, when we first started this tour, when we first got on tonight, you were talking about how it was the same shit, and it was just a different fucking day.
Yeah.
But what have I done? Oh no, I've moved thing. What am I doing? I took you off screen, Dean. I don't know why. I only pressed spacebar. I accidentally pressed spacebar, and it just took you off. Let's say hello to everybody who's in the chat room. Alice in there. Alice, good evening. My dog likes me no before it thunders. There you go. Apple Charlotte says animals are very intuitive, and I think we could be that. We could be intuitive if we didn't have all the crap that goes on around us. I mean, everything's telling us the opposite of what we really think, because they're trying to change what we think. They're trying to change that we, that we think, that having an advert where there's a woman and she's in a gym and there's a Tampax string hanging out, and I mean, that's just not even a fucking why. It don't empower women at all. It's just obscene.
Serious? That's an advert?
That's an advert. That's
Honestly.
an NHS advert. And it's about empowering women and all that and sort of thing. And there's this one scene, and there's a woman, and she's in a gym changing room, and she's getting changed, and she's got white knickers on, and the view is from below, and she's got a Tampax string hanging out of it. I mean, it's just no need for that. Just no need for that. I know women have, periods. I know that they put a Tampax in, if they use Tampaxes, I mean, Tampax is a fucking brand name. But it's just fucking horrendous. It's horrendous. What we're doing to ourselves is horrendous. Go on.
I think it is slowly working, but I don't think we've got enough time. They've done it this quick and fast, so they know. If they'd have done it over like a 12, 18 month period, it's almost 12 months anyway, but I reckon anything longer than 18 months, the population completely, or 90% of it, would have come round to the fact that it doesn't exist. Or it does exist and it isn't what they're saying. Let's put it that way. It is a virus, but it isn't anything to what they're saying or trying to make out it to be. So they've had to shove it in. And if you look at Australia, what they're doing with Australia, they picked Australia because you've got to admit it's one of the most laid-back countries in the world. And
Yep.
they'd have probably thought, well, this is going to be a pushover with Australia, but plan everything out in there, play it out as a big movie to the rest of the world to get them shit in the pants. Which that's all it is. It's one big movie in Victoria that they're playing out to the world to scare the rest of the world. Keep them in fear, we've got control. But as soon as people shake off and say, I ain't got anything fear, it's just words. That's all they are. Words can't hurt you. And I know I'm only preaching to, like, trying to teach Grandad suck eggs for people that do watch us and watch you know what I mean? But it's always that off chance there's one person that will drop in. And here.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of information out there, and you, especially on Facebook, you're watching them and you put it in just normal groups like local groups, the odd person drop in comments about it and they get ripped apart. So there is that. I'd say in my town, I'd still say 95% of my town's definitely got a fleece coat on. Definitely.
I've got a what, sorry?
A woolen jacket on.
They've got vaginas instead of penises.
Yeah, well, elephant.
Well, I mean, that's an insult to women, really, though, isn't it? I mean, these cunts are fucking are more cowardly than fucking else. I know a lot of fucking good, strong women out there. In fact, one in chat room tonight, I hope she's still there. Sharon Gale, who I had on, I've had on the show. I've had a couple of conversations with her, not on the show. And Sharon's a good person, and Sharon's somebody that's really really what's the word? God, fucking hell! Do you know words fucking fail me sometimes? Yeah, there she is, Sharon. She knows what you know what I mean. She knows what fucking crack is. She knows who's going on. She knows who scumbags are. Because there are scumbags. This is the problem we've got. We've got these fucking scumbags that are hijacking this movement. And this movement, I mean, I've got more fucking experience and time in this movement than most people that I know. And when I say I'm not saying the truth movement, I'm saying the reality movement. I'd call it the reality movement because everything's fucking unreal. You know, to have these people that are there. I watched one of Sharon's videos a couple of days ago, and she's there, and she's passionate about what she's doing, and it's obviously not fucking led by some fucking idiot like Ian Crane and that and what have you. And by the way, Sharon, if you could give my email address to Brian Harvey, then I'd love to get him on because I know you were speaking to him the other day. So if you pass on my details to him, and she's going to message me Tuesday, read the Essex connection. Yeah, I've got a couple of people lined up. I've got one side and another. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to negotiate between each side so that, I'm not allowed to mention certain things and on one side, and another side doesn't want me to mention other things. So I'm just trying to iron it all out so that we can perhaps get to the truth about the essay. I mean, it's a bit late now because the guys have spent a lot of time in prison. In fact, I think Mike keep calling him Mark Steele. Mike Steele, one of the guys in prison for those murders. Like I said, I'm trying to link him. It's the same fucking MO. It's the same name, surname, and we all have people who are relatives that are from different parts of the country. So so I'm trying to do that, but I've got this like extra fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a guy on YouTube, actually. He's not long started doing a new sort of like self-investigation on the Essex boys. Have a look at, see if you can find it. I can't remember what he's called. I've only seen him a couple of times. And
Are you talking about Bernard O'Mahony?
I'm not sure his name, mate. I didn't take notice of his name. I just had no box, so I clicked on it, watched a bit of it. I think I watched one and a bit of his streams, but I didn't take any notice whatsoever of his name.
If you don't know about, I mean, Bernard O'Mahony was conversation with him trying to get him on, but he was a doorman at Raquel's in Essex, which I think Basildon it were in Basildon in Essex. Thank you, Sharon. That would be great. That would be absolutely smashing. And by the way, Sharon, believe me, anytime you need to ring me or have a conversation, you're quite welcome to ring me and speak to me. So don't think that you've fucking that you've upset me in any way, because you haven't. So it's all good. We're all good. Rumple foreskin. Sometimes I take my t-shirt off and put it over the dog's head for light relief. Well, good on you. Newbie, shaking hands and hugging with Chris O'Rourke. Listen, if anybody wants to pop on, if you want to jump on, just let me know. I'm gonna exempt uni from this simply because it was on the other night and it were quite controversial. I've had some dealings with people in comments and stuff like that. And while I'm going to support uni, I know that it'd be itching to get on and he'd get on. So if anybody wants to get on, just let me know, and I'll put the link into the chat room. So if anyone wants to come on and just talk to us about this, anybody about, oh really, it's absolutely it's just a Sunday night thing. It's not, I haven't tried to put it together. I've just decided that I thought I'd, because I've just been feeling so empowered all day.
Kendo, click that link. Kendo's in chat room. Very knowledgeable guy.
Kendo, get Kendo on then. Kendo, click that link. And nice to see you back as well, Apple Charlotte. Have you got a spanner? Are you still spannered? I can't tell on here. If you're not spannered, I'll spanner you up. I don't think I took your spanner away. I never took Alice's away, even when she asked me. She said she's not heard anything from Brian for ages. He's been on doing stuff. He's been on doing stuff about David Icke and stuff like that. I know Super Leeds probably would. I think he's probably asleep, but he did say we're going to be listening tonight. But I were, like I say, I were a bit late. Yes, Dean Yates. Yeah, that's you, Dean. Jump on, Kendo. Yeah, she's still spannered. Good old Apple Charlotte. She is still spannered. There we go. We've got Kendo Taylor. Your mic seems to be muted, mate. There you go.
Yeah, take him a minute or so, but there we go. Are you on, Kendo? It'll take him a minute or so to set his thing
Yeah, yeah, I understand. These things are fucking. It's a bit of a fucking ball ache. Yeah, so we're gonna have a bit of a round table here. I feel a bit like Webby.
Good evening.
Have we got you there?
Kendo.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, mate. How you doing?
I'm just glad Bright's not in the chat room.
Can you get nearer to your mic so we can hear you, or turn your mic up or something, Kendo?
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm glad Bright's not in the chat room. Is that better?
Yeah. I think Bright's been fucking banned forever. He probably don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know what his gig is. What is his MO? I mean, what's his?
It's just a passing jest remark. You know what it's like trying to communicate in the chat box.
Kendo, you need to sort your mic out, mate. It's very, very low, buddy.
It's turned up full
better.
on the settings.
That's better.
Yeah, it's turned up full on the settings.
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now enough.
Cool. All right. I'm not going to click back to the YouTube page because I'll just keep staring at the chat box.
No, if you look on your left-hand side, if you look on the right-hand side, Kendo, it says private chat and comments. If you click comments, it'll give you the live comment straight from the chat box.
All right, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you reckon of this shutdown in Israel then? I think they've done that on purpose, haven't they?
Yeah.
Little rumours coming out there that there's what do they call these big guys with these big Jew guys? What do they call them? Past.
Big Jew guys.
No, they call like pastures and padres and that with us, innit? You know what I mean?
Oh, rabbis.
Rabbi, that's it. There's been rabbis coming out saying he's here. He's arrived. So.
Oh, right. Okay, that's probably what's killed me then.
Possibly. It's apparently the saviour is here.
Who's you betting on? Who the saviour's going to be?
It's the Antichrist. That's all it can be, and I reckon it's Trump.
You reckon Trump's the Antichrist?
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you think, Kendo?
I really don't know because I've been looking into this, and I know what everybody's going to say. I've been looking into this Greg Allett stuff, and there's much mystery around Greg Allett, but all the symbology and the signs seems to be following Greg Allett, to be honest. Because stuff's happening. I'm not talking about what's in the papers. I'm talking about the ravens have gone from the tower because the beef eaters used to feed them, and they're worried that the ravens are fucked off. But when they were filming that documentary with Greg Allett, there was a bunch of ravens followed them all the way around while they were walking through this park. Signs. Then when they were going to another location, a Merlin Falcon flew at side of the car for quite a way. And there's some significance to the Merlin Falcon. It's another sign. There's all sorts of stuff wrapped around it. But what's going on now is pretty, because it's on a global scale, and because of what they believe, i.e. all their fucking ritual shit, I'm saying it's biblical, and that's not a quote from Q either. I don't really know. I'm trying to get my head around it. I'm really trying to get my head around it. But to tomorrow is quite significant because that's the day or the night that all the stars align.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the book of Revelations, there's a mention about the beast from the abyss. Is it Poseidon? You know, from the water, the beast from the water. It's Poseidon, isn't it? Or is
Right.
it that it's one of those mythical creatures? It's not Poseidon, is it? It's the one in. It's the other one. Poseidon was the god of water, because Caligula went to battle. He was supposed to invade Britain, but he got to the shores of France and gathered a load of shells and marched all the way back to Rome and laid all the shells out in Rome and said that he'd had a battle with Poseidon and won the war, because here's the shells to prove it. So it's possibly Poseidon who is the monster. Well, if you look at the constellations in the heavens, you've got the stellarium thing, haven't you, Dean? Well,
Stellarium.
Yeah, they've just broken away from Poseidon up in the stars, and that happens tomorrow, 21st, and all the alignment comes into play in the stars.
I can't put it on this computer I'm on. I can't put it on.
Yeah, I'm just following by what I've been looking around on other websites, trying to cop what's going on in the heavens with regard to ancient astrology, because that's what they use. But there's two sides to it. There's a good side and a bad side, like there's on everything. So
you've got every few thousand years you get a cosmic balance that flips, and that's been tuning in with like all the other ancient ancestors that have like disappeared, like the Mayans, things like that.
Yeah.
And we're at that point now where it's a 50-50 chance whether we get enough energy out there to flip this balance to our way, or they manage to keep going with all this propaganda and everything and flip the other percentage of the people over to their idea.
It's a timeline thing, and there's several timelines converging all at once. There's one for them, there's one for us, and there's one for the plan. But this is, I looked into another theory from someone else, and if you look at what went on in 1665 with the Great Plague, that went exponential in a matter of 3 months in London, and you got into the year 1666, and Parliament and the Crown, Charles II, decided it was time to have a reset.
Yeah.
So that was why the Sesquiquivir Act was introduced in 1666, and literally that's what that did in 1666 was obviously it brought us all into the maritime law bullshit.
Yeah.
But
where we were all, that don't know I can't even say it, me. It's where we were all pronounced dead.
Yeah. Lost at sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, where we're coming to now is because I've been talking to a couple of mates about this, and I don't know whether you lot keep getting this coming in 11/11.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I've looked at because I've got a mate who like it's weird. 11/11 keeps appearing to him. 22, and he fell asleep the other night and he sent me a photograph of the clock when he woke up, and it was 3:33. So he's going mental with all these signs 11/11. So I've been looking into that, and there's some mental shit going on with that. But with regard to the common law, yeah, it's mentioned in the Bible. I think it's Romans 2, verse 12, right? And the way I'll read it out, but the way I interpret it is that there's going to be an end to maritime law. When, I don't know, but I'll read you the verse, verses 12 to 16. All who sin apart from the law will also perish apart from the law, and all who sin under the law will be judged by the law. For it is not those who hear the law who are righteous in God's sight, but it is those who obey the law who will be declared righteous. Indeed, when Gentiles who do not have law do by nature things required by the law, they are the law for themselves. Even though they do not have the law, they show that requirements of the law are written on their hearts, their consciences also bearing witnesses, and their thoughts sometimes accusing them, and at other times even defending them. This will take place on the day when God judges people's secrets through Jesus Christ, or whatever. But I'm beginning to wonder if that is, we all know God's law in our own heart. Those of us that's been studying and have known for a while, and we all know that there's a big bloody lie about wrapped around the birth certificate. So to me, that sort of reads that that's coming to an end in this particular period of time that we're into now. Because the 11:11 refers to Revelations 11, verse 11, and and that's all about there being 3 days of darkness, where they thought we'd all died, and then all of a sudden we rise up, and there's something to do with God offering us heaven and all this, that and the other, and we become the righteous ones, blah blah blah. I think that's connected, because they're all talking about the internet going down for 3 days now, aren't they?
Next month.
Yeah.
Next month we're supposed to have a total blackout, power, everything's supposed to be going on a total shutdown for 3 days.
Yeah, and then
minimum of 24 hours.
Yeah. So I don't know. Check Revelations chapter 11, verse 11, because that's the only. But the other thing is, it keeps coming up. So and these people reveal themselves. So I did a bit of numerology, and the World Health Organization comes to it. Once it all adds up, that's 9. That's 3 3s, 333. And I looked at the World Economic Forum when you work that out on in using numerology. What did that come to? Yeah, that was 33. That was 33. So there's 3s and 11s, and like we were talking the other night.
I think the thing for me is that they try to make it so that you think, because people will look at this is what happens when you get a TV program. Normally the first segment is 11 minutes long. So when the first segment goes to the adverts, you look at your phone, and if it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, it'll be 11 minutes past. So if you're watching some at 11, that comes on at 11, the first ad break, when you pick up your phone, which normally people do, I mean normal people do, they pick up the phone and they'll see 11:11 or 9:11 or whatever, and I don't know whether that's on purpose or whether it's somebody so, I don't know, just playing a trick on us.
I don't know. I've no idea. It's just me being open-minded and following the various little bits of rabbit holes around what's being talked about at the moment.
But Kendo, I've got to say, you know more than me about it. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dean knows where I'm like, because I've been going down the same path as Dean, more or less, and then I don't know, we both found the answer to the problem, but it's with regard to common law again. But there's only a certain group of people that have had any success with it, and that's mainly in Australia. So you can say that the Justinian Deception Channel did loads and loads of research, and most of their stuff was bang on. But even then, they're using references to Bibles, and you know that, like, most of the shit that goes on, all these, you're not allowed to say it on, you can say FF, but the other one's FLAG, otherwise you'll get struck off. A lot of these incidents that have happened have all been connected to dates that are connected to rituals. Like 9/11 was supposedly the conception of Christ. 7/7, that was another strong one. I don't know, most of them are death cult rituals. Like this, the ritual that the BLM are using, taking the knee, that's a shoe ritual, the shoe god, the Egyptian god, and he was a demon god. All of them. The more I look at what's going on, the more I see that everything is connected to some form of ritual. Like right now, we're going through this thing where we started in Israel, that closed them down because of the is it the ceremony of the Feast of Trumpets? So women's intuition, they're good at it.
They are good at it, aren't they? Evening, yeah. Sharon, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, fella. Look at my hair. Well, I'm going to excuse this mess. There I was, watching telly in bed. Like, I've had my bath, thought I'd put the old oil stuff in my hair because it keeps snapping off with old age. And then I see you guys pop up on my YouTube. So here we are, back in the dining room in the red shoe devil den.
Yeah, they're baby skin shoes, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys all right?
Not so bad. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a weird old week this week, crikey. Like, reversed 3-4 weeks ago, and I like, it's just been the crazy week. But then it's crazy 2020, so I expect absolutely nothing out of it. So, yeah, it's weird. It's been a weird one. It's like this little channel that I had up on YouTube that was me banging on about vaccines and, like, you know, specific false accusations and things like that. It's gone in all the directions that I didn't anticipate, but you know, it's just a bit strange. So
that's life, Sharon. Listen, I've been at this 5 years.
But the scary thing is, it's like all them things that I've been thinking, that's not right, for years and years, and you kind of like keep it to yourself so you don't look like a nutter. And then you find out that, like, the people that have come to my channel are like asking questions that are stuff that I've been researching for years anyway. So yeah, it's been an eye opener. And for me, I think this is a good thing, because people are not only not trusting the mainstream media at the moment, they're questioning the alternative media as well. And I see this as only a good thing.
What do you reckon of that, Kendo? What do you think to alternative media? There's some bad apples, isn't there?
Yeah, well, like we just found out with the Petition people, is it change.org?
Yeah,
Turns out they're sponsored by bloody George Soros.
Black
But this
Mirror.
is the same as all that Occupy movement years ago, wasn't it? And the what was it, the Million Mask March and all that. When you actually track that back, it was corporate funded, well, capitalist funded. So yeah, it's all been a big, huge scam, really, isn't it?
Well, that Black Mirror that Kendo's on about, he put a petition up because on the 26th of this month, the COVID Emergency Act actually goes back in front of Parliament. And after 6 months, they have to be resubmitted any emergency act has to be resubmitted after 6 months.
Because very few people read that, because it is boring and it's written in a sort of legalese kind of way that you zone out of it. But when I first looked at the original that come out on that, it looked like it was for a duration of +2 years. But I guess do they have to go back and renew this every 6 months? Is that how it is?
It's an emergency act because it was an emergency act. If it's going to go into full force, it has to be resubmitted anyway. But because it's an emergency act, it goes in 6 months later to be either resubmitted, updated, or quashed.
Oh, no. God, don't tempt them with the updating. It'll only get worse, won't it?
Well, Black Mirror actually put out with this change.org, they actually do petitions. Now, they put out, Black Mirror, a petition to get this changed. It got through about 15,000 in 24 hours. And change.org actually took it down and said it's against our policy.
There's been a few things with that, the change.org, where they've just like stopped the petition halfway through. I can't off the top of my head remember what it was. It was something. There's a couple of instances where they've just taken them down. But to be honest, I get these on my Facebook and on my email all the time. I could sign 20,000 things of these a day, and you kind of I don't ever see that they impact anything. You know, it's kind of like, well, let them sign a petition and they'll think they're being listened to. But I don't know of one that's actually worked. Or maybe I'm just a cynical horror.
I don't think I have actually. Minor ones, yeah, but not the big ones.
Yeah, I've not heard prime ministers a question in prime minister's question time or anything off of any of these, even when they've had 100, 200,000 applicants on them. I've not ever heard it in PM's question times. I've not ever seen a tiny bit of legislation. And I always think with these things, are they just giving us this little platform, like they give us the opportunity to vote, knowing that it's pretty much a waste of time?
Yeah, it's the placebo effect, isn't it?
Yeah, you think that you're doing something and you're being listened to, but the reality is, I've never seen any outside of the poll tax riots, marches, protests, petitions. Outside of the poll tax riots, look with the Iraq war, how many people took to the streets? Don't do it. Oh, they've done it anyway. So I don't know.
There's a big difference there. One's a riot, one's a protest.
This is exactly it, isn't it? And we're not allowed to.
They almost destroyed the country, didn't they? On that riot, poll tax, and they knew they wouldn't stop.
Yeah, you got but people had fire in their bellies then, didn't they? And that was over the poll tax. Whereas people have been put on furlough. People have my youngest boy, he's supposed to be in college. Well, he's gone back to college for 3 lessons every other week. I mean, he's living the dream, isn't he? but I don't know how this is going to work. Does he have to stay at college an extra year? There's zero anything. And it's like, well, he don't mind, does he? Because he's got his part-time job and he thinks he's one of the Rockefellers at the minute.
It's indoctrination at the end of the day anyway, isn't it? It's teaching them their ways, which we don't need. We don't want their ways. We need the end of their ways.
Well, exactly. I mean, my boy, he's going through this thing and he's doing like business studies and stuff like that. But he's already planning on taking a year out and going to work in Thailand on super yachts because he's like, Dad does sailing. So he got into that from a young age. So I don't know. I'm not that pleased about a young boy going to Thailand, but, you know, I'm quite sure he won't need a business degree to be sailing super yachts and being in Thailand. Oh, God, mum nightmare.
It's one of the most amazing countries I've seen, that Thailand. It's beautiful.
I had a different experience there, but then, yeah, I think it's a man's playground. It was an eye-opener.
It's been stamped on the trying to turn it more into a family thing. Even the Americans that did that. That turned Vietnam and Thailand, they turned that into what it was, a massive brothel.
Oh, it's horrible. Like, I was working in Bangkok and in, Bangkok, Pattaya, and then there was a military base where I'm not allowed to tell you where it is. I don't know, they're little Thai people, they could come out of anywhere and get me. This was years ago. And the things I saw, I didn't ever want to see, to be honest. And it wasn't just about the sex industry. Well, it was about the sex industry, but it was more about the kids getting driven over the border from Cambodia into Thailand and no one cared, and the corruption there. It was just one of the most eye-opening places I've ever been. And I've never been anywhere where you can wear jeans in the evening and the mosquitoes are so massive they bite through them. They were like pterodactyls. Oh my God, I couldn't wait to leave. Everyone else was going, oh, you're so lucky you're in Thailand. And I'm like, you got no idea. No idea.
I didn't get bothered with them. I didn't get bothered with them at all, mate.
Well, you probably got bothered by the lady boy. Actually, I got bothered by the lady boys because they liked me because I knew I wasn't after anything. Apart from playing Connect 4, they got a bit angry if you keep winning Connect 4. I didn't realise they had to buy you a drink for that, or you had to buy them one. Yeah. So, there were some strange little things that I learned out there, most of which I didn't need to know. You know.
It's double price as well, the drink.
Oh, what, with a Connect 4 if they win?
Oh, it's like if they turn around to you say like a bar staff drink, it's double the price.
Oh, I didn't know. I was not as proficient with the old customs of the bars in Pattaya. It's on one of them lists of places that I will never ever go again, and I'm incredibly happy for it. I'd rather go Southend-on-Sea myself and have some of them donuts that go along the conveyor belt.
Yeah,
well, Charlotte and Jack Les Georgeson have just pointed out that it's 11:11.
It's what?
It's 11:11 now.
Don't tell John.
Oh, John, is he John Wedger now or John the Baptist?
Oh, did you watch that testimony of John Wedger?
Certainly did, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The end bit, it was comedy gold. I'm getting my other laptop back. Well, I've got my laptop back, and then I realised when the laptop was back, I'd got the wrong charger for it. So I'm on my crappy laptop that I'm amazed it still works. But the bit at the end when they're all praying and everybody else is there with their eyes closed, heads down. John's at the back and his little beady eyes are like, it's like, this is comedy gold. But he's a household name. Did you see one of the guys in Liverpool who challenged him this weekend at the protest, and his heavies gave him a bit of a dig?
No.
I'll send it to you, Jason. What he does, I mean, he's at the protest. He's allowed to be at the protest like anyone else is. and he sees John Wedger, and he's like, John, you're a fraudster, always a cop, like once a copper, always a copper, and he's jeering him a bit, but and he goes, you're a fraud, your foundation's a fraud, you're ripping people off, like along those lines. And you could just see these people were going around him, and it's like, so now we kind of can put faces to the the vigilante combat crew that he's been building for a while. So they're not so invisible anymore. But it wasn't nice to see. It wasn't nice to see. And then John done a stream this morning that someone sent me that he's taken down now. And in that he says, oh yeah, well, we had someone trying to get under our skin at the protest, and they got handled the way that everybody else will get handled, because we're not effing around here, we'll deal with people like that. Right, hang on, that's not even a veiled threat, is it? That's vigilantism.
Mm.
It was
Cultism.
weird.
It's cultism.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
What I find with a lot of these groups, they don't realise it, but they're in a cult.
But this is the sad thing, and I do think it's that, because obviously I get a load of stick from his followers, like they need a hobby, you know, more Bible studies, I don't know, something, knitting, crocheting. But like most of them genuinely do believe in this, and they do believe in him. And it's just really horrible to see. It's horrible to see. But
I've heard the name, but I can't put my finger on what he does, John Wedger.
It's the ex-copper.
Is that the one with all the...
The one that looks like he's just about to burst into tears all the fucking time.
is that the one that were on about all the
Satanist hiding under the bed, and the one that likes to talk graphic detail. Did you see the video that I put up where he was on Charlie Ward's YouTube, and he'd actually encouraged people? He wanted people to look at child pornography. Well, no, I get told off for this video of children being abused, so that they could see the pain in their faces. I mean, come on, no one thinks or speaks like that. That's a horrific thing to say.
I don't think you have to go that far, do you?
No.
Who thinks like that, to even say that they think people need to see that? Most people who have to see things like that is part of their job, and they've got a team of counsellors behind them, and they get, like normal people like me, I would never get rid of images like that out of my head. It would traumatise me. So it's not a good idea, John, and that's getting close to encouraging people to watch these things, isn't it? Which I think is illegal.
I don't think even the investigators don't get it out of their heads. They take that home with them.
Yeah, it damages them, doesn't it? It damages them for a long, well, forever probably, because we're not, normal people don't want to ever see anything like that. So I don't know, it's just a mess. But
what did you ask? I'm going to ask all three of you this, but I think probably Sharon, it would probably be more pertinent to. But what did you make of Bill Maloney, calling for an amnesty of paedophiles?
Do you know? Well, I was around that Helping Hands Against Abuse, which was basically a bit like John Wedger's clan. That was kind of like Harry. He was like, I'm freezing. We can't even put the electric on in our house. So people who had no money were donating to this. And then, because a lot of the people around him who were supporting him, they were victims of abuse. When he came out with that, he really damaged a lot of people with that. A lot of people were so disillusioned over that, because it was going against, it was like, right, this is basically saying, all right, if you've done something wrong, come forward and nothing will happen to you. Which meant that them potentially victims that were going to pluck up the courage to go to the police station and come forward, in their heads it's like, well, it won't matter now, they've all got away with it, like amnesty. What's the point of me ever being brave enough to speak out? It was just a massive kick in the teeth for lots of people, and he lost a lot of support over that. But then there's always the hardened ones that, you know, have the Yeah, he's everything. And they still do, even to this day, seeing Brian Harvey's videos of the Andrew Ash interviews. They still support him. And it's like critical thinking gone out the window.
Well, do you remember that, Kendo? What did you make of that? I remember it being on UK Column, because I did a bit of work with UK Column a long time ago, about 6 years ago.
Right, that's it, I'm off.
No, sorry, listen, I didn't know anything then.
I used to watch them. It takes us like till it's sunk in.
I did a video of the Rotherham abuse victims, and I got an interview with one of the mothers, and the UK Column used it, and then I think David Icke. What I did is I sent it to a newspaper, and the newspaper, instead of publishing it, they sent it on to David Icke, and David Icke published the video.
Oh, so it's also independent from the mainstream media then, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. What do you remember that, Kendo? What did you think of that? An amnesty for paedophiles.
I think that was desperation to get a paedophile whistleblower who knows too much, and that won't go anywhere anyway, because he'll get wiped out before it comes to the event anyway. So, you know, that's the only thought I had on it. You're desperate to find a whistleblower on the bad side. Well, the last one they had was Jeffrey Epstein, and now they've got Ghislaine. So that's better than a whistleblower. And apparently Ghislaine's singing like a bird anyway.
Oh, there's nothing that she won't know, isn't there? That she will know the whole. Well, yeah, of course she will. You can't be in that circle.
I didn't know she was singing though. I didn't know she was singing though. I didn't know she being gone canary when she were in custody. I didn't know she was telling things.
I was under the impression that Nexium came down as a result of arresting Ghislaine, and she's supposedly got, like Jeffrey had, a vault full of all the evidence, films, videos, tape recordings, because you can imagine that place, Epstein Island, must have been wired up to the maximum, man, to get enough dirt on as many people as possible.
Well, I mean, every single one of those properties would. I mean, his place in New York. He had places. I mean, there was one in the desert somewhere. I can't remember where it was. All them places, they were all the same, weren't they? They were like videoed, audioed up fortresses for anyone who walked in them. I mean, that was his insurance policy, but it didn't really pay out well for him, did it?
No, because they had to close him down quickly, didn't they, before he turned state's evidence or whatever they do in America. I don't know.
But all of that information somewhere will be sitting on a bank of servers somewhere. Like, you think you can delete something, but yeah, you can delete it. And even like when the police sees your computers or whatever, like, they can't always get everything off of your computers. But if they really want to, you can't completely hide your IP addresses by bouncing VPNs and stuff like that. That is sitting, all of that is sitting in a server in a data center somewhere. All of it.
Absolutely.
You back, Dean?
All right, make a coffee.
Oh, I thought you got to lay a cable like Uni when he comes on.
No, go make a nice fresh coffee.
And this is why I'm single, men. This is the reason.
I don't think so. I think it's tattoos. I think it's tattoos that put people off. You know, when you're doing your video on what's that over 50s thing that they keep saying? You know, singles over 50, and you think to yourself, you know, singles over 50. For a start,
I keep getting bloody emails on my Gmail account for all these over 50s dating sites, and I'm like, hang on, I'm not there yet. Cheers.
Well, I'm just 50 in April. I was 50, so You know, I get all sorts of it. But I've got a new lease of life. I'm born again. I'm a born again new ager. I'm a born again. I don't know what if you've got somebody who's got an illness, a condition, and then suddenly it's gone after it's took a leg and everything. Because
I didn't catch the beginning of your stream. Like I had my bath, and I think you were about 25-30 minutes in when I picked you guys up when I started watching. So what, you've had some good news?
Yeah, well, I had a test in July. I think I had 2 blood tests 2 weeks apart because of this antiphospholipid syndrome, and they wanted to check that it was still there. And it's gone. Now, nobody's ever been cured of this. Nobody's ever, it's been lifelong for everybody. And suddenly it's disappeared from me. It's gone. It's took me leg with it, but it's gone. But it sort of gave me a new lease of life. It's made me feel like, you know, that I felt before I was sat there and I was there and I was waiting to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you would be. Like, if that's the prognosis they've said, you as much as you can try and keep that at the back of your mind and keep going, and that it's always going to be there, isn't it? So you must feel like a teenager again now, right?
Sure. Yeah, I nearly got an hard on the other day. I'm sorry.
Good for you.
I must temper my stuff. What I say, but yeah, we're in strange times, aren't we? I mean, how are we all dealing with the people with face masks?
I'm avoiding going out as much as I possibly can because it just winds me up. I can wake up in a good mood, go to Tesco's, and I come back like all hope is lost. We're doomed. So I'm just avoiding going out as much as I possibly can because I don't want the dirty looks, and then I don't want to come back thinking, oh my God, we're all idiots. You know what's going. You know, we're doomed here. If critical thinking has gone.
Same here. If I go out, I'll just go up on Elms where there is nobody.
Yeah, that's it. It's like that whole going anywhere where other people are. Like they say, oh, the restaurants and the pubs are open. No thanks, I can't be doing with it. Cinemas are open. No thanks, can't be doing with it. Tesco's is bad enough, and I even got that delivered today because I wasn't in the mood to go round there and like literally herd around with the trolley with the rest of the sheep, getting dirty looks. You know, it's
normality up on hills. People walk about normal.
They love it. Do you know what I did see? You know, last time we were talking after the wedger madness, and I was saying about the babies in masks and how dangerous that was. Do you know what I actually saw the other day? A dog in a matching mask. I've got a park literally 30 seconds walk from my house, and there's like a park there. An owner and a dog in matching face masks. I was like, I want to hang myself. I want to kill myself now.
No, you don't want to do that. We need more people like
you. I wanted to hang the dog owner and steal the dog and give it a better life.
Hang the bloke and save the dog. I saw a video, and it was obviously somebody video. It was obviously in the States because in the States they have all the children are all in all the newborn babies are sort of in a thing and
in the room, yeah,
and point out and somebody had gone in with a video camera and all these newborn babies had got them fucking windscreens on.
Oh, it's awful.
And I just thought to myself, what the fuck are you doing? Is there anywhere in the world that should be sterile and safe? It's a hospital, isn't it?
It's just, and it's not that, they're newborn babies. So where have they caught this from? Nowhere.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
They're not spreading it amongst themselves. And if you can have if you can have your kids, like your 4, 5, 6-year-olds back at school now, And there, I mean, one of my it was football weekend, wasn't it? Arsenal were playing Saturday, so like my oldest like football mad, and so we had a house full of boys here for football weekend, which meant most of Saturday evening was upstairs, like not listening to the toy crap downstairs. And one of them has just qualified as a primary school teacher. And I said, and I wanted to know what was going on. And I said, like, because they've only been back a couple of weeks, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. He said what they're doing is their year groups, they're allowed to be together. So they are still allowed to play normally together, but they've had to section the playground so that say like the 5-6-year-old ones, they're not allowed to play with the 6-7-year-old ones. So they're keeping in their year group pods. So it's not as bad as what we've seen in other countries, but it's I don't know. It's just really sad, isn't it?
It's bad enough, though, isn't it? It's bad enough that people are accepting it, but we're seeing that people are
loving it.
If you're looking in alternative media, like me and Dean were talking about before, that there's so many people down in Trafalgar Square this weekend, and it's only going to get more and more. The more and more they push us, the more and more we're going to push back. Well, not as a nation, but the people that are going to save this fucking country. You know, they're the people that are not taking the crap. And, you know, you can't. I mean, the first thought to me was when there were all these babies and they got these babies and they got the masks on and everything. I think I counted about, I think there were probably about 12 of them all in a room. So there's 3 rows of 4 babies. Yeah. And I thought to myself, you know, the likelihood is that they'll end up with fines. They've all just been born. You know, they've not even been registered yet. So, but they'll probably all end up with fines for being in groups of more than 6, if that's the case in America. I don't know.
Yeah, the moment they turn 18, or what is it, 21 in America, the moment they turn 21, they've got their $300 fine there from when they were breaking the COVID rules when they were 3 minutes old.
Kendo, what part of the country are you in?
Robin Hood country, dude.
Oh, so you're in Nottingham?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice up there.
Yeah, oh, lovely Nottingham.
Right. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? I used to have a customer up that way, and I used to really enjoy, like, we used to do a project at a time for them. And I used to enjoy that because you'd be there for like the full sort of like 10 days and not come back. And it was like being on holiday, it was.
Yeah, it's a fucker to fucking drive round, though.
Well, from here on the south coast, it's not the easiest. Mind you, Holyhead in Wales is probably the worst place to drive to, but Nottingham's not the easiest place to get to. It's not just a whack it down the motorway job, is it?
So what's the in Nottingham? What's the vibe? What's going on, Kendo? Just let us know what. Tell us, are the protests? I know they are because I've seen that fucking idiot. Oh God, it just does me fucking head in. Fucking Mark Salon. With his fucking stupid fucking ponytail, but I don't know. Look, that's my own personal opinion. And
never heard of him.
The opinion of Raconteurs News.
I get my view of Nottingham from what's going on with regard to stuff from the Patriots, the Viking. I can't remember his name. Big lad. He was my neighbour's platoon sergeant, and they're on it because of the way they're suffering, the way the government's giving them a hard time over Northern Ireland, and they don't look after the vets anymore, so they're desperate to try and look after themselves. And I do know from what my neighbours said that particular bunch of grenadiers are suffering like mad at the moment. Quite a few of them have committed suicide already. So I try and tune in every now and then to what they're saying. But with regard to Nottingham, I don't know. That's the trouble with Nottingham. We're a bit too laid back. I know we've got 5G rolling out in one area of south side of Nottingham, but
Tell Mark.
he already knows it was him. I mean, in every one of those market square things, I'm being that successful. Then when the veterans did a march, they were supposed to meet at the Brian Clough statue, but that was all sectioned off and they were kettled out of it. And in the local paper, the local council, who are in league with the local paper, put out the fact that Tommy Robinson was going to be there, and so that gave him a chance to, although it was only an allegation that came from one of their minds probably, oh, let's use Tommy Robinson, then we can make it a far right thing, so then you got the trade unions got involved, and obviously they passed it on to their pals, their Soros mates, and there was a counter demonstration by Antifa. This was about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, this was the one that John Wedger went to. Yeah. Because they didn't they end up not being able to use to the statue, and didn't they end up being outside the BBC building instead or something? Yeah,
they all walked back to the BBC and made all the speeches there.
Well, pretty apt really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, you've got genuine people there who had suffered from child abuse, and you've got genuine people there who were suffering abuse from social services.
You were saying about the military there, sort of like ramping things up with regard to the 5G. I've actually had a lot of, since this YouTube channel's gone a bit nuts. I mean, it's really strange because the John Wedger and the Sean Atwood kicking off has actually made my channel go from nothing to it's doing quite well, in a short space of time. So it's like, cheers, idiots! Thanks for being fraudsters. But a lot of ex-military have sort of sent me messages and stuff like that. And a lot of them end up in the military, don't they? Because they've run away from abusive households or they've been in the care system. And it's like, so they weren't looked after then. They were severely let down. And then they go in military, they come out even more damaged, a lot of them, because of what they've seen and witnessed. Yeah. And then they're let down again. It's like let down from the cradle, into their 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's just, it's disgusting, isn't it? It's disgusting.
Yeah. I've got, or did have, a few years back, several friends who were involved with the Second Gulf War and ended up, they're all messed up from the injections.
Oh, for sure they are, for sure. When I was working in Bahrain, the only other sort of English speaking people out there were either military or ex-military doing private security work and stuff like that in the Middle East, and none of them were right. They all said, oh, I've got PTSD, anxiety and all the rest of it. But then when I sat down with them and they listed off the cocktail of vaccinations that they'd had, that I had to go on the internet I'd never bloody heard of. So they were all trial vaccines. None of them rolled into the general population. And I'm not and they were getting chronic fatigue syndrome and burning joints. And it's like, wow, you've just been poisoned. You've been slowly poisoned there.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Their health is terrible.
I just want to make a point. I've got this little thing in the corner of my screen because I'm hosting. It tells me how many people are watching. We've got 69 at the moment.
Favorite number.
We've heard enough about your almost hard on and you're laying logs, and now we're going here, are we? On Sunday night.
It tells me how many people are watching, and then it's got a thumbs up thing from Facebook, and it was on 4 or 5, and it's gone down to 1. So well, I don't know what that's all about, but there you go. Where it's gone down to 1, so we've got 1. So if you're on watching us on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. Let's see if it actually works. And if you're watching on YouTube as well, please give us a thumbs up. The more thumbs up we get, the better. The more we push through the crap that
drives traffic, doesn't it? It drives traffic. Thumbs up or thumbs down on YouTube. It doesn't make any difference. Anything's better than nothing, isn't it?
Oh, we've got 2 now. We've got 2 thumbs up, so yeah, that's pretty good. Dean, somebody asked a question, and it was aimed towards somebody called Ken. So I'm assuming that's you, Kendo. What happened to Mickey Summers? I remember Mickey Summers. In fact, the picture I put up to, on the Facebook page tonight, that was it. I was in Liverpool and Mickey Summers was there, but I've not heard from him for ages.
I haven't. Let's have a look. Is he still on Facebook? Because I swear I used to speak to him a fair bit over the years.
Dinny was on the call the other night when we were sat talking about Mickey Summers, and we've already covered this with dinner.
Yeah, he's gone back to America as far as I know, because he wasn't very well. He's gone back to fight cancer in America with his wife, I think.
Right, so he's gone to America. So he's in America.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And they must have a Facebook to us, because I've not seen anything posted from him. For you. We had him on quite a lot. I mean, what we did is when it was me and Andy, we made a conscious decision that we were doing far too many shows that were about child sex abuse, and whilst they were important, it did take a lot out of us because we were listening to people, survivors and stuff like that. So. I think Mickey Summers came on a few times, but I've not heard from him for a long time. And so Dinny's just stirring it up. He says he's forgotten. I don't believe him for a fucking minute. It's Dinny for a start. It is for a start, yeah.
I happen to know personally, well, throughout the last few years anyway, since I've known my wife, I know another couple of, I'm not going to mention the names or anything about them, but I do know another couple of victims of the Beechwood mess. One of them is in a piss poor state in his head, and they've just sent him to prison for another 2 years. And the other one, he died of liver cancer this year, and all I will say that to avoid being abused yet again, he jumped out of a 3rd-story window, broke both his legs and his ankles, cracked a few ribs. I think he buggered one of his wrists up as well. I don't know, but he's now sadly passed away. So, but he was under a gagging order anyway. He took the money.
Right. We're not talking about Mickey, are we? Mickey's not dead.
No. This is two people that I've met during the latter course of my life in the last sort of 10 years, and you just get to hear from family and friends. Oh, so-and-so's gone to prison again, or, oh, did you know so-and-so died? Oh, and both of them, in their own timeline, were abused in the care system in Nottingham.
Right, and there'll be a lot of cases like that. There'll be a lot of people that have been in that care system that have committed suicide over these last. I mean, the suicide rate anyway is is skyrocketing.
I think it's up 80%, isn't it, from last year already, and we haven't even got through the suicide season, which is Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
They literally have no closure whatsoever. So how they can, I don't know. It depends on you inside as to how you deal with it. I wouldn't like to think I had got to deal with that kind of shit in my brain, you know.
And I guess it also, and it depends kind of like when you're an adult, which kind of way you go, and the people that are around you, as to whether the people around you are genuinely good for you or opportunists. And if you're a vulnerable person and an opportunist is in your like sphere, then you're already at a massive disadvantage, aren't you? Rather than having like genuine people around you, it's just like on its own, it must be a nigh on impossible thing to get through. It's just you can't. Well, thank goodness none of us can imagine it unless you've been there, I guess. Well, absolutely, unless you've been there. But yeah, it's worrying. Did you see that thing in the newspaper as well? I was reading the other day, and it was just like one of them BBC god-awful headlines that I was reading, because I like to start my day off with a reasonable chunk of crap. And it was like talking about, are the COVID restrictions going to cover Christmas and New Year? Is it now time to leave Nana and Grandad from the dinner table for their own good? Oh, lovely. Lovely. They've only been locked away all year, terrified by the BBC not to leave their house. What, and now they're going to get left out of Christmas? And it's like, come on, this is just an attack on the weakest in our society. Just stop this nonsense. I was just like, suicide rates go up over that period anyway. Now we're going to leave old people and treat them like they're lepers. No, you've got to stay at home. It's just like, it makes me so sad. Makes me so sad.
Yeah, it is terrible. It is terrible, and I'm not a victim of abuse at all, and I can't imagine it. I interviewed a guy called Bernie, fucking hell, Bernie Gadd. He's unfortunately passed away. I said passed away. He died. I hate saying passed away because it just don't. You know what I mean? It's easier to say died than passed away. But anyway, he died a couple of years ago. But I've been looking. I did a video interview with him, and I've been looking on all the fucking memory devices that I got, and he told a proper story about abuse, and it only happened to him once, but he linked it to all sorts of different things, like the Jill Dando murder, and you know, all these different things. His name was Bernie Gadd. If you search back on Raconteurs News on YouTube, and you put Bernie Gadd in, you'll hear it might just be, you know, it's not video, but you'll be able to hear the audio. And he had a horrendous story, but thankfully it only happened to him once. And I went to see him, and he was a complete wreck. And it had only happened to him once. He'd been abducted, and he'd not even been abused. Well, he didn't admit to me that he'd been abused. He may well have been, but it was just horrific. And that was around the time we decided we were going to sort of move away from the child abuse thing, simply because it will fucking our heads up. You know what I mean? So
it does, it does. I mean, I left my emails for a good week about a week ago, and I only started picking them up the beginning of this week, just because I couldn't read and have to call. I'm still behind with the people that I've got to call back, but it's like there's only so much horror you can deal with, and I was just like, I'm just not gonna. I I can't help anyone while I'm not even wanting to open my email, and I just left it for a week, and it was like, right, okay, I've had a bit of a break from that and crack on kind of thing. But it's like, and if you think that's how it affects like you, times that by 8 million for the poor person who actually has to wake up with this every single day of the week. It's like, and go to sleep with it every single day of the week, and put up with it every minute of the day. You just can't even get your head around it, and you can't even presume to say, oh well, I can imagine what you feel like. No, you can't, because you haven't been through it. I wouldn't be that rude to anyone to even think that I could comprehend having to live with something like that.
And then you get the dickheads like fucking John Wedger who are trying to exploit that situation, the situation that people have been through, and trying to exploit it to the nth degree. It fucking pisses me off.
It's not that. It's like I don't watch the interviews he does with people because it upsets me too much. His style of interviewing them, it annoys me because he's more interested at looking at the camera and how many people and what the chat's doing, rather than someone, whether they're telling, well, like, I don't think they're all telling the truth, but some are. And then when they're going into something really, really traumatic, he wants even more detail. And it's like, I was speaking to a psychologist who was like studied like these kind of people, and when I sent a few of his YouTubes over, and they came back and they said, this is a pedophile's dream. This is like audio reliving of what they've done, because he wants all the gory, graphic details that none of us need. We can only imagine how bad that is. But it'll go, oh, and what happened then? Did they do that? And it's like, when this psychologist like listened to, I think he said he could only stomach 3 of them. He'd already had enough, and he was like, this is a pedophile. Like, if you're an old pedophile who's no longer able to be a predator, this is the stuff of dreams for you to go to sleep to at night. And I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. And then you think, yeah, I guess maybe the rest of us are like, I can't even hear that. I don't want to hear that. If you're the other way, you're going to love every second of it, aren't you? And horrible.
Yeah. I've seen the videos that Brian Harvey's put up, where he's been talking to people who he's talked to people and they've sort of like had that duper's delight on the face, the little grin that you can't control, that's been going on. Look, Mandy John has just put up an interesting post. She says, I think pedo hunting live is good, but not reading the full graphics log. What the fuck? That's too much to say. What you've done. It's to embarrass them. What do you guys think of? I'll start off with you, Dean. What do you think of the pedo hunters that seem to be online at the moment? Or have been for a couple of years? I've had a couple of guests on that have been pedo hunters, and to be honest with you, I've not really ever found anything that I disagree with them about. But what actually do you think about them? Start with you, Dean.
Not a lot of people like what I think about them. It's intentions are good, but there's a little clause in law what they always forget. It's entrapment, and 90% of them get away with it in court because they're doing entrapment. The best thing to do is research them, set up a meeting, don't meet them, get the police to meet them, pass the information over. Simple as. There's no need to do all this camaraderie on live streams and that. camaraderie.
We've got egos involved, though, haven't we?
Yes, exactly. This is exactly.
We've got egos involved, and for me, I've watched a few, and there's quite a lot. And someone said it's not entrapment, and I agree, it's not entrapment. I don't think that the actual thing is entrapment, but what I do think is...
1 second, I'm running off. An alarm is playing up. I need to unplug the bloody thing. I think it's the old smoke alarm thing. It's now annoying me again. Deed, deed, deed.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't think it's entrapment. I do think... my problem is if they gather all the evidence and the police... they hand it over to the police, inevitably the police aren't going to do it. They're not going to do anything. Whereas they set up a situation where if they do it right, and I'm not for them sitting there and saying you're a fucking pedo, you're a fucking this and you're that and you're other and whatever, when somebody is clearly not compos mentis, you know, they've got some sort of learning disability or whatever, and they're being abused. Whereas if they just sat and talked to them and then wait for the police to come along, I agree with that. I agree with that they should do that, you know. But some of them get, you know, too much, too personal and too much. So I wouldn't agree with the entrapment idea, but I would suggest that the other option that you're putting up is gathering all the evidence and giving the police it will take months, and by that time, you know, for them to investigate and to arrest somebody, and by that time somebody could have got rid of a load of devices because they know all about it, you know, they know that they've been caught or whatever. So the entrapment thing, I don't think, but I think they could do it a little bit more professional. And I think somebody's in here has said, Mark, who was watching on Facebook, hello Mark, he says he works for Stop, and I've watched Stop, and in fact I've had a couple of people on from Stop, and they seem decent people, and they try to do the things the right way, but there are the other ones, and I think we could probably blame Stinson Hunter for this. I don't mean blaming as in he deserves to be vilified for it, but I just think that was the modus operandi that people picked up on, and we ended up because Stinson Hunter, one of his people, committed suicide. Now nobody wants that, because that's not just affecting the person that's the pedo. You know, everyone might go, well, it's a fucking pedo, fuck him, he's a, you know, who cares whether he's killed himself? But he's got family who are innocent, and he's got, you know, all this other stuff. I just don't know the way that it should be done.
It's not only that, is it? It's like, and none of us want these creatures roaming around the streets. We don't want them any near us, our kids, or anything. But you've still got to have that thing, because there have been repercussion attacks on people. There have been suicides of people that have been accused, and it's kind of bypassing that innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. And you've always got, and the thing is, you've got nutters everywhere, in every kind of group of things, and vigilantes and stuff like that. And if you're not going to, I don't know, it's such a difficult one, because the police haven't got time to go, like, here's all my paperwork on this one, this one, this one, and this one. Half the time, like, even when victims do go to the police station, like, they just go, oh, there's no evidence, like off you go, because they're incredibly difficult cases to prosecute. Well, or they're implied that they're difficult cases to prosecute. So it's you got the devil and the angel with it. Like, I don't know. It's a tricky one.
What's
Isn't
your thoughts, Kendo?
I don't really know, because I'm not really involved myself with looking at anything of what they get up to. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos, but I thought, well, you know, if that's what you practice, then what goes around comes around. There's a, you know, karma, bad karma, good karma. But it's the only other comment I've got to make. It's a shame that those who are doing it ritually and those who are doing it are making possibly millions of pounds, dollars out of baby farms. You know, they're not being highlighted, you know, and I'm getting all confused now. It's just a shame that the state or the state actors climb on the back of covering up for themselves and highlighting the fact, oh no, it's throughout society. Yeah, we know it is, but you know, those who are really doing it for not the right reasons aren't being brought to justice.
Well, what right reasons is there to abuse kids? There ain't none, is there? I understand what you're saying. The ones that are habitually doing it, the ones that have got some money, they're getting away with it. And anybody who's savvy enough knows that you don't. You know, you think to yourself when you're watching these things, you think to yourself, surely these people have seen these sort of things before. In fact, there's situations where people have been caught 2, 3, 4 times, and it's still not worked on them. So, you know, whilst I'm for it, I'm for getting rid of paedophiles. Obviously, I've got a daughter. I mean, she's 23 now, but you know, I remember when me and her mother had a proper argument when I found out that her brother were babysitting for my daughter, and then when I got home and I had a look what he'd been looking at on our computer, and he'd been looking at like things like rape, boy rape, and things like that, and I reported it, and it caused complete ructions in the family. Because I thought, well, look, they were all like, well, no, he would never do that. He would never do that. He would never do that. And I'm saying, well, look, this is what I found. And I said, you either talk to him, and somebody talks to him, or I'm phoning police. And in the end, nobody had said about it, so I phoned police. So then I became completely outside the family. But all I was trying to do was protect my daughter, and they just couldn't get a grasp on that, and thought that I was just doing it just to be a cunt. But you know, I'm not.
You know, I've got 2 boys here, like 23 and 8, like just coming up 18. If I mean, I'm not too I don't snoop too much because they're older and they've sort of proved trust now. But I was like chief snooper of the house of what they were up to on the computer. And when they were younger, it was like they didn't have laptops and things like that. But yeah, I think if I'd caught one of mine doing anything like that, as much as I can't stand the police, I probably would have called the police on them to give them an absolute rocket so they understood the severity of a bit of curiosity potentially get you in so much trouble. And it could be just curiosity, but it's not the point. It could be something else, and like nip that in the bud straight away.
Years ago, there was a situation years ago when my daughter was around about 13, 14, and there was a pervert flashing himself locally, and she came running in, blah, blah, dad, dad, dad. So I had a Rottweiler at the time. And anyway, by the time I got out with the dog at the back of the house in the bushes. There was 2 coppers there, and anyway, we managed to weed this guy out, and it ended up me getting almost arrested for because the police were walking him off, and I knew it was him. We all knew it was him because he'd got the ski mask in his pocket, and I pulled it out of his pocket. And my daughter mentioned that he was wearing a blue ski mask. So as the police were marching him off, I ran up behind him and gave him. I got Doc Martens with steel toe cap boots, and I dropped him twice. Because they picked him off and they told me off and said, "Don't do that again." Well, I just did it again, and I just said, the next time you come around here, pervert, you'll have something to remember. Next time you set about the venture, you'll have something to remember. But he got marched off by the police. I don't know what happened to him, but that was my only venture into pervert world. And I know exactly what you mean about the kids, all the feelings. I dashed out as quick as we could, man. But it's different now. These people don't have to hide in bushes anymore, exposing themselves to kids, because the kid trapping the kids on the phone. And it's just sad that it's just bloody sad, man. So I know how it feels to think that your child's gone into somebody's imagination basically for a fucking hard-on. When you're prepared to kill destroy a mind for your moment of fucking fun. Because that's basically what it is.
I think the most terrifying thing about that is that this can be going on while you're in the same room and this little kid's on a phone and you're watching TV.
Yeah, that's the difference from my encounter with it to now. And that's how I can't get my head around it so much as you lot can. But because I've not got little kids who are sitting on the settee prattling around with phones. My kids are grown up, but their kids are sitting on the settee prattling around with phones. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is a problem. It's something that we could talk about forever. But we've done 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it's gone past midnight, and the witching hour. Dean, hopefully, you texted me earlier on and asked me if I were coming on because you said you were, bored shitless. I hope your boredom's been relieved a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody. I'm going to go around. I'm going to start with Dean, then Kendo, and end up with Sharon. And there's one little message you like to give before we say good night tonight. It's been a decent show tonight. I only just put it on just before we started, so there was no way that anybody knew that it was going to happen, apart from anybody who looked on the Raconteurs News Facebook page, which isn't any, because Facebook's just a bunch of shit. But anyway, one little message from each of you before we go tonight. So first of all, Dean, what would you like to say?
Just every few days, pull yourself away from all this shit. Get out, get on a park, get beside a lake, get up on hills, get with nature. Just break yourself away from this for a few hours. Rebuild that self aura back up. There's too much negative aura about. We'll never win this battle with negative aura that's about.
We're winning it. Shows like this, things like this, where 4 people can come together and we end up with 70 people watching, and it's just set up in an instant. I didn't, advertise it or anything. So I do believe we are winning. But I do take on board what you said. Yeah, getting away from everything, getting away from it all, get into nature. Just go and sit in your garden. Go and watch some birds. Go and try and get some get some fucking. Why the fuck can you not throw fucking bread to ducks anymore? I don't get that. What the
They
fucking?
get fat.
What have they done to fucking bread?
They get fat. We've got obese ducks. Ducks lives matter.
Obese duck, yeah, the obese duck problem will be soon. Apart from in Chinese restaurants where they'll get more for their, they'll be able to have 2 portions instead of 1. Kendo, one last thing for you. What would the message that you'd like to just say to people?
Yeah, same as Dean. If you can get a connection to nature, go for it. Whatever it is. I mean, we spend hours in the garden. While you're in the garden, there's no internet, there's no music, there's no nothing. There's just you and the sound of the bees, because we've got millions of fucking flowers on the go, and we attract thousands and thousands of bees, butterfly bush on the go. And it's always nice to spend a bit of time every now and then in the garden while you're whooping a few weeds out and just listening to the orchestra of bloody bees, man. It's amazing. And if you don't bother them, they don't bother you. Just get on with it. And then, every now and then you see all the butterflies arriving. That's the connection to nature. Have faith. That's all I can say, because what was in the dark is being brought to the light at a rapid pace now, and people are getting on the fact that something ain't right. It's not about COVID. This is an IQ test. This is to see whether or not you are capable of holding yourself up with what's going to turn out to be God's law. That's where I'm going to leave it. Get your head around God's law, because that's the only thing that's going to save you. I'm not on about the Bible. I'm on about cause no harm, cause no loss.
Land or water.
Yeah, get your head around it.
I agree with you, Kendo. I'm hopefully going to be moving house pretty soon, and I want a great big garden. And one of the things that I want is I want to get a beehive. So that's one of the things that's one of my goals going to be for the next year or so. I'm hopefully going to be moving house. Fingers crossed. Sharon, last word for you.
Pretty much agree with Dean and Kendo there. And also, if you are sort of like housebound and you can't get out, I'm not housebound and can't get out. What I tend to do when I've just had enough of all of it is turn the news off, turn the internet off, put a bit of music on, and read a book. Just shut off from it, because there's only so much madness one person can ever put up with, and we've had this since March now. So that's pretty much. I agree with the guys, really. What's your last say then?
Well, my last say is find Sharon's Facebook, YouTube channel.
Don't send it to Facebook. I get stalked on Facebook. You've got the messages, and then you've got the other box. When I'm feeling a little bit sadistic, I'm like, wonder how many death threats I've got this week. Damn, just the 4 must raise my game.
Okay, well, find Sharon's YouTube. I keep saying fucking Facebook. Find Sharon's YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. It's always interesting, and it's always from the heart as well, which is what we like here. I always try to wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't keep anything from you. I mean, I went through. In the 5 years that I've been doing this, I've gone through all sorts of different things. I've had my leg amputated, and people have been going along on that. I hate to say fucking journey, because it isn't the journey. We're just a fucking, we're just part of my life. But people have been going through part of that my life with me. So and also get away from it. If you feel like it's getting to you, and you might not even know it's getting to you, but things might trigger you, and learn to see those triggers. Also, learn to see the signs. remember, I told you, the signs, you see the signs and you don't understand them. I bought myself a GoPro back in December, January time. I bought myself a GoPro, and when I got it, I thought, what the fuck have I bought a GoPro for? This is for people fucking riding through woods. I've only got one leg, right? And then a few weeks later, I did say on show I'm going to strap it to me mobility scooter, but I didn't, right? And then a couple of weeks later, I'm going through the woods and this woman's in my way and I'm trying to get round her, and I end up rolling my scooter down the hill and almost killing myself. And the woman stood at the top and just looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was halfway downhill. I'd been thrown from scooter. Scooter were just above me. It were teetering. It were just about to fall on me. And she just stood, looked at me, and walked away. And so if I'd have had my GoPro on my
you could have shown her something wonderful, couldn't you?
I would have had all the evidence. And
She'd have
that's
been as
what
famous as that cat bin woman.
Exactly. All you've got to do is see the signs and see, not only see the signs, but if you think if something happens and there's no reason for it, then look at that as a sign and try to work out what it might be. That GoPro was obviously, I bought it so that I could put it on my mobility scooter and I would capture that. I didn't. Now I've learned, and now I've on my mobility scooter I've got a GoPro that's on front that videos everywhere I go. So just see the signs and see everything, and just think about this. Whatever the shit that they're telling you on the TV, fuck that. Forget about it. Use it as information, but see it for what it is, and just remember it's what's in here. What's in here, who's real and who's not, and inside yourself, and trust yourself more, trust your own instincts more, and I think that's where we'll end on this show. So thanks to Dean, Kendo, and to Sharon for coming on tonight. It was just a last minute thing. I just thought I'd do it. We've done a couple. It's been a good show. You got wet hair.
No, I put like coconut oil in it because it was looking a bit strawy, and I thought, well, I'm not doing anything. I'll just put that in. I was like, yeah, looking good. She hasn't washed her hair for a year.
Well, there you go. You'll have lovely smelling hair, just
wipe it around the wok for the stir fry tomorrow.
What more can you ask? Listen, I'll be back on Tuesday. I think Jason Clark's going to be joining me. I love Jason. He's a fucking proper bloke. He reminds me of that John Cooper Clarke, that Salford poet he's just a great guy. So he's going to be on Tuesday with me. I've also asked Gaz Mack. I've sent Gaz Mack a message because he was down in London this weekend. So I've asked him if he wants to come on and tell us about what we're going on there. So that's what's going to be going on Tuesday. Listen, I've got a new lease of life. Raconteurs News is going to be fucking more and more and more shows instead of me trying to get out of doing shows and having this anxiety about doing shows, which I had. I really had the real anxiety about doing shows. I ain't got it anymore. Look, just look after yourself. Look after yourself. Trust yourself. And I'll see you again on Tuesday. And thanks to Dean, Ken, and Sharon. And we'll see you later. Take it easy. Bye-bye, everybody. Say bye-bye, everybody.
It's all good night.
Fucking way to end now.